Right now, it's such an exciting time to be a New World player. If you have ever played this game, if you've ever thought about playing this game, the energy around it is becoming more and more electric. We're seeing the memes of dead game fade away and an excitement or perhaps hopium building up for what this game could potentially become in the future. And it's that development, it's that dedication that the team has brought not only to making the game, to bringing in content, but also in their communication and their consistency that continue to give me hope and to make me excited to be somebody who's partaking in the evolution of this world, in the story of this world, and the story of this game overall. And hello everyone, and welcome to Ginger Prime. My name is Brian if you're new around here, and if you enjoy New World content, I actually have a dedicated New World channel, Ginger World Gaming, that focuses in on the news, the guides, and so much more. The link is in the description if you're interested, and right now, at the time of this recording, I am working on a massive overhaul to my controller guide for this game to really incorporate all the new features and settings that have been added in over the last year. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that setup. But let's dive into the 7 reasons to play, the 3 to stay away, and I'm always curious as to your thoughts, so feel free on sounding off below. First and foremost, let's kick this off with the biggest 2 reasons that New World is going to be a game that people should pay attention to, and that's both Brimstone Sands as a brand new zone that's set up for level 60 players, and also a new player experience that's going to handle the 1 through 25 leveling process by delivering story, cutscenes, and so much more. We're also seeing that same kind of degree brought into Brimstone Sands with story and cutscenes, and so overall we're seeing an AGS really bent on developing a process, a smooth, like what you would come to expect from a modern MMO leveling process, but this doesn't sacrifice the sandbox as well. In fact, one of the things I hope we get New World into in terms of how we talk about it is to refer to it as a sand park over the theme park or the sandbox MMO. Sand park being the game that blends these 2 systems and styles together in unique and interesting ways. So if you guys have ever been curious, the new player experience is truly top notch, and the Brimstone Sand Zone is truly incredible, but this goes above and beyond because they're actually bringing in that level of design quality back into earlier parts of the game as well. And so the new player experience isn't just a questing, but it feels like it's a promise. It's them showing that they are really committed to this game, and they've already talked about more zones are going to be getting that kind of love, that TLC, to really kind of bring out their character, to bring out their individual stories, and to make it more exciting to visit and see its evolution. So if you've ever been on the fence, if you've ever looked back and say, you know, I wish I played that game when it launched, or back when, you know, maybe it was struggling a little bit, but I'd love to know what it was like to play at that time, well, this is a really good time to try because all of this is about to roll out here into the live environment here in October. Now, number 2, well, we're getting things that players have been asking for. And I think this is really important. If you guys haven't been paying attention, if you want to run what their dungeon system is, aka expeditions, you now no longer need keys to get into the dungeons. You actually have a dungeon group finder tool, which will make it even easier to find people to be matched up with. So no more constantly shouting in recruitment chat. Also, teleports, fast travel, your storage system have all been reworked. In fact, I just got asked the other day, what am I supposed to be doing with all this Azoth that's always at cap? And yes, my Azoth is always at cap. I teleport wherever I need to go, and ultimately they are working on a updated system. We haven't seen the pure details on that, but it really shows their commitment and their interest in learning and kind of refining these systems overall. And so if you guys don't know about your storage, it's all linked. You can easily freely transfer items to and fro, and at the end of the day, it's just really great. Like, it feels so much easier to be able to get into the game and manage your inventory. Obviously, there's still features that we want to see, and that brings me to my 3rd point. Number 3, big things are yet to come. They've already confirmed mounts. They've already confirmed loadouts. There's even more surprises in the future. And so as a fan, I'm just anxiously awaiting each and every dev update, which they do once a month, to see what new is coming, what lessons are they learning, what feedback are they hearing, what questions do they want to have answered. And as a player, I'm very curious to see how they bring these things in. I don't want them to rush mounts, but I do want them to make a mount system that feels exciting, that is a take on the system that we haven't seen in every other MMO. I don't want just a faster boost of speed. I hope they draw inspiration from systems like Guild Wars 2, where you really kind of have a mount that really helps you actually traverse various different plots of land for various different reasons. Now, at the end of the day, we don't know yet what this system's going to be, but I know I'm going to be excited to share it with you when that comes around. Number 4 is the Greatsword. We've gotten 2 weapons added to the game, and in October, we're getting the Greatsword, which will make it the 3rd new weapon. I highly recommend this weapon. It is so much fun to play with, and if you have the opportunity, you want to play with it early, you can always check out the PTR. I do wonder if we'll see it get a little bit of nerfs, but at the end of the day, it is a really interesting weapon, and it does set up a really interesting future for future weapons that we've already seen teased and that we already are hoping for. We don't know what kind of order that those are going to release in, but at the end of the day, this is definitely going to be a weapon you're going to see a lot of people using because it does give you a lot more build flexibility, and it's just a lot of fun to play around with. I'll be putting out some additional build guides over on Ginger World if you're generally curious about more about that weapon. Now, number 5, AGS continues to communicate. They continue to listen to feedback and they continue to respond. I hope number 5 is actually felt through this entire video. I think this is critical to what makes an MMORPG. You might not necessarily have the piece of content you want just yet, but understanding that the devs hear you and when they're able to put that and communicate that roadmap to us means the world. The fact that they put out a roadmap and they've not just stuck to it, but they've delivered more than they promised, I think is a smart move. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. They underpromised in a way and have been over-delivering, and October looks to be like another fulfillment of that process. Now, we should be learning here soon about even more content to be coming down the road, either an updated roadmap, some speculation leans into an expansion. We'll have to ultimately wait and see, and I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date as that goes, but their communication has been, I think, really, really good. It's only gotten better. This is a learning process between players and devs, and I think the relationship between the players and the devs have only been strengthened over the last 9 months. Now, number 6, this game is still in development, meaning your feedback really directly impacts the game. Now, you might not necessarily be a big reason for some people to jump in and start playing, but the fact that my voice really feels heard, the fact that we're really able to rally around certain ideas and have this dialogue with the developers, it really means the world to me. It's one of the things I enjoy about MMOs is their evolution, their growth. Where you start doesn't necessarily mean where you end up, and it could hopefully be a better solution with more feedback. So I would encourage, especially fallen away players, that if there were reasons why you've fallen away, be sure to give that feedback in. They have the feedback system in game itself, or you can always use the official forums, and that is at least that, so it's more voices being heard, not just like loud voices like myself, like a content creator's voices are the only ones that end up reaching their ears. So that's something I really appreciate about having them have that in-game feedback mechanic, and ultimately it's going to be great to see what happens from here on out. And finally, number 7, the game actually is just fun. My personal review always is that the end game in New World begins at level 1. I think there's content that begins at level cap, and that's fine, but I separate these differences because of a player-driven economy, because when I step into the game, I don't feel like I have a chores list to go and run around and do all these things before I can start having fun. This relaxing nature means that I have very organic adventures every time I step into New World, be it for 30 minutes or for 3 hours or for 6 hours. It really just depends on what my schedule works around with. In fact, they've updated the whole quote-unquote end game progression loop in a way that really benefits me as somebody who's got kids and a busy life and family and things that are going to naturally take me away from games, which gives me, I think, a natural balance when it comes to my enjoyment of games. It isn't always so, I've played this game for 12 hours every day for the last year, rather than like I've played this game hardcore when I can and casually when it makes sense. But I always enjoy my time stepping into the world, and I always look forward to my time when I'm away from the world. Now, reasons to stay away. Well, this kind of plays right into the game is still in development. So yes, the game is still in development. Generally speaking, it takes MMORPGs around 3 years to fully come into their own, to fully mature. We're still in year 1. We're actually about to start our journey into year 2. And this is going to be an exciting time because this is a general time where a lot of the rush of bugs and issues have been worked out. But there's still going to be some along the way. There's still going to be new systems that are going to be tested, And I think this is actually going to be the most critical year for New World and its success, year 2, as we step into a maturing and environment, a maturing dev team, and also a community that's really excited to see what's going to come next. So this is a really exciting time where your feedback is just as important, but you might not have to deal with some of the headaches that we've had to deal with over the past year. Obviously, number 2, you're still going to run into bugs. And this is something that I always see kind of brought up in interesting ways, like who puts out a patch like every week or every other week to address bugs? Well, I said Destiny. Like, there's plenty of examples of games that are highly praised that do these various things. So I've usually seen like people look at New World and what they do and try to kind of put a negative spin on it. But at the end of the day, like, if they're doing the work and they're making the game better, well, that's a good case for it. But if that's going to be something that is frustrating to you, that's why I always usually encourage people, like, if you really like MMOs, but you don't like the frustration of launch, if you don't like the frustration of the first year, sometimes it's actually better to wait. And so sometimes in this case, like, if you're ever really concerned about running into, bugs and issues, things like that, it's probably still time to kind of hold on, pump the brakes and wait until kind of you get more feedback to where we've had more consecutive months without massive bugs. Now, finally, number 3, why you still probably want to stay away. I don't really know what their battle pass situation is going to be. Their monetization system is going to be. Right now, they are the most fair and probably overly fair to the player monetization structure than any other MMORPG out there. But here's the catch. Any of that can change. When I've heard people defend games that are like, oh, it's not pay to win, or it's not this, or it's not that, I'm going to go, are you new to a games as a service? Call of Duty launched, and then like a couple of weeks after all the reviews were out, they completely changed up their store, and it was awful. But that's also Activision Blizzard, and we don't want to go apples and oranges. We don't always want to say like just because Amazon's going to do this, etc., because it's not a one-to-one relationship. But I've seen things change. Now, I have a really good feeling, and I think they're going to start talking to us soon about how they're also planning to monetize the game even further. And this is something that I'm cheering for, a reason or a way to kind of reward them for their hard work. I want more New World. I want more games. I want more, stories. I want to be able to find more things to do in this game and to see it continue to grow. So clearly, I'm obviously a fan. I'd like to be able to give them money. But if you're worried about what their monetization structure looks like, right now it's just the cash shop. But they've talked about maybe a battle pass. They talk, who knows what that shoe is going to look like. And so personally speaking, if that's a no deal system for you, well, then that's going to be an obvious reason to hold off and to wait for the time being. Anyhow, those are the 3 reasons I think you should stay away from this game, and those are the 7 reasons why I think you absolutely should check this game out. Hopefully you found this video useful. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you feel like it earns it, hit that like button, subscribe, maybe share the video out to anybody who needs it. You can always check out our podcast, Epic Loot Radio, in which we record here live on Wednesdays, and so much more. We got a lot of stuff going on, so thank you so much for being here. If you're looking for more YouTube content, YouTube should have a couple video recommendations based off their algorithm and what they think you might like more over here on the side. But without further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you have an amazing day. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.